Hi guys, welcome to episode 2 of my Mortal Realms review series. I'm Wargamer Dad. This is my daughter, Julia, who is also known as Julia. This week we're going to be reviewing issue 2 of the Mortal Realms magazine, which has just made its way into the shops today. Nothing for me in this one as I'm collecting the Stormcast Eternal side, but there's 4 Mirmorn Banshees. So, I mean, what do you think of those, Julia? You're getting them.
They look interesting, like I'm going to scream when painting, like I always do.
Fair enough. So, let's get straight into opening it up. Actually, there we go.
Yeah, they can see the door now.
They can see the door
Lovely
now.
view.
Okie dokie, so what have we got? We've got...
We have a paintbrush. Very interesting. It's a relatively fine tip, it's not too tiny. Very similar.
Yep, this is a starter brush. It's the same starter brush that you got with the Conquest one. I don't think it's one that's available separately from GW, just because if you look, you've got a plastic handle there. So it's a cheap brush, but the bristles on it are good quality, so that'll serve you well to begin with. Oh, there's the bit for it. There's the bit for it. Put that on. And what else? We've got the base colour here, which is Corax White, which I think is probably going to do you well painting those, Julia. I mean, what do you think? Good colour.
I think so, yeah.
And she's very enthusiastic. You
Very
can tell.
enthusiastic.
Right, do you want to have a look at these? And,
as we go on.
I mean, say what you think.
They are pretty cool looking and tiny. I have big opinions, I'm aware. They look like they're not too difficult to put together. Maybe 2 pieces, not including the base, for each model. So, no fingery bits. Or maybe there's like that was probably more than 2 pieces, but still.
Yeah, they're part of the easy to build series, so they should be relatively easy to put together. Unlike the Hex Wraiths, I think, that we got last week, these guys are coming with very detailed bases, so they're going to look really good. It looks like these guys are out of the easy to build set, because there's 4 of them and they're all popped together. Well, popped together and glued together. If I remember correctly, the easy to build set is £10. And I've had a look. The paints are £2.75. This brush, which is a starter brush, isn't available separately. So, given the value of the brushes on there, between £3 and £5 is probably what you'd be looking to pay for a similar brush, which brings you to 10. Let's say £3, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, about £15.75, roughly. As I have the guesstimate of the paintbrush. In terms of quality, you're at least getting £12.75, and being as you're paying £5.99 for this, you're making a substantial saving there. This is another unit, another one that's well worth it. I mean, even if you're not planning to collect the whole Mortal Realms magazine, if you're just looking to get the Banshees, then buying half a dozen copies of these to give you a solid Banshee squad isn't going to be terrible. Right, let's have a look at the magazine. Oh,
Why do they use that glue? Sticky gel that no one likes.
I do not know. As mentioned last week, we've got the kind of the snot glue stuff holding it to it. So when you take the this off, when you take the when you take the sheet off, make sure you don't put it on. Don't put your magazine on there or near this, because you'll probably get stuck to it and you'll end up tearing pages and that. So you're going to throw that away.
Yes, hello, little dog.
So we've got, let's have a look. Pretty much the same pictures we had in the back of last issue, telling us what you're getting in the issues. Yeah. Picture of the units with what looks like a cardboard playing surface, which I can only assume you're going to get in a later issue. and it's telling you what you're getting next issue, which is going to be Castigators and the Griffhound. So that's interesting, and so on and so forth. And then the Death of Rats for the issue after that. So it looks like we've got something in this issue as well. Okay, no, it's just this. The basic bump you need if you want to order the extra stuff, or go in for the for actually subscribing to OFGW. I'm not going to be doing that, partially because I don't really need any of the extra stuff. Partially because whilst it's amazing deals on the extra subscriptions. There's 4 armies there, and Julia would use the Flesh Eater cause because that's her preferred army, but the other 3 armies would go to waste, so it's not really worth it.
Roxy, I'm not a personal back scratcher. No.
That, and I really like to support local shops, and I'm getting this from banging things. Continue banging the thing. Sorry, I'm getting this from a local shop. So, yeah, on the front cover we've got some fantastic artwork there of the Mermon Banshees. So let's go into the front cover. Nice and clean looking table of contents. Again, signed by Ian there, Emperor of the Realms, obviously. And the first page, we've got a description of the Mermon Banshees. Where we go? I'll just read the description here. Mermon Banshees were once women who practiced the arcane arts and sought out magical knowledge. In their search for power, they failed to pay the proper respect to Nagash, and in death, guys, be quiet. In death, he cursed them, forcing them to forever seek out and devour the magic they craved. So, I mean, what do you think about that, Julia?
It's an interesting backstory. I like that they all have their own backstories. It makes things a lot more interesting rather than just a baseless character.
We've got a nice little bit of a story here based on an expedition. Do you want to read that out to them? Let me see what. Best bit to hold it up so you can face the camera. To enunciate to the people.
Enunciation. That's my favourite thing. Expedition log, the Prime Innerlands, day 20. Expedition log, the Prime Innerlands, day 20, Redstone Barrow. The Banshees came at dusk, drifting out of the darkness, falling upon our wizard with chill daggers. A spell of warding died upon the poor spellcaster's lips. Thank Sigma for our Stormcast protectors. Without their bravery, we'd be naught but carrion. I fear my dreams shall be haunted by nightmarish wails and shrouded ghostly skulls. I almost messed that up.
From Travels in Shyish, An Adventurer's Diary by Talak Malthar. 2 quick points if you're not aware. The Prime Innerlands refers to the centre of any of the realms. If you're aware of the realms of Age of Sigmar, the outside of the realms are all massively affected by magic, because that's where the magic kind of pours into the realms or pours out of the realms, whichever. And the inside of the realms are a bit more stable. So when they say they're exploring the Prime Innerlands, it means they're exploring the stable bits where magic won't kill them. And obviously, it's from Travels in Shyish. Shyish is the realm of the death. Obviously, these Banshees can be found elsewhere. It's got a nice little bit explaining what the Banshees are and how they work. Should be interesting to see them go up against the Age of Sigmar Stormcast Eternals. I keep giving them the full name. Against the Stormcast Eternals, as they don't tend to use magicians that much. We've got some beautiful artwork here, basically explaining what they do. You've got the Wailing Dead. Mermon Banshees unleash terrible screams and rage and misery as they attack their victims. Chill Grasp. Despite their ghostly forms, Banshees can grasp and tear at the living or stab them with their chill daggers. Then we've got Soul Eaters. The cold touch of the Banshee saps the will and strength of the living, eating away their souls. And Spell Eaters. The Mermon Banshees hunger for magical energy. They can eat spells as they are cast and drain the magic from enchanted weapons, so that's pretty cool. Do you want to read about the shield daggers, see what they do?
Mermon Banshees are armed with cruel blades known as chill daggers. These ice-cold weapons...
You did them.
with the
I know, it's terrible, isn't it?
I know. These ice-cold weapons possess vicious points and are capable of passing through all but the mightiest of magical armour with ease.
So we've got a base description there, and we've got bits about them destroying the dead. You can hit them with enchanted weapons such as Storm Smite Mauls and the Shields of Azir. Magical shields carried by Sequitors can be empowered by the Storm Magic of Azir to block and parry. So it looks like these guys and the guys we got from from the Stormcast last week are going to work well against each other. Next it goes on to describe the Wrath of Nagash, who, if you're not familiar with, is the god of the undead. He has a lot of undead warriors. The Banshees and the Night Haunts are just one of the undead factions he controls. It basically breaks down into vampires, ghouls, skeletons, ghosts, and kind of Frankenstein bone monsters at this point. Yeah, but they all work interchangeably. I mean, what do you think, Julia? What are you looking at?
I'm sorry, but he has like a beard made of bones.
He does have a beard made of bones. It's worth noting that's because he's based on Egyptian stuff where they had those sort of like fake tin beards and those big hats. But yeah, he has a beard made of bones, and he has like a tassel thing which is also made of bones, which many people refer to as his bone of bones, which is a bit weird. It gives you an explanation of who Nagash is, what he's done, and his relationship to Sigmar. He considers the Stormcast Eternals to be an act of theft. All dead souls he feels belong to him, rather than necessarily their respective gods. And the fact that when the Stormcasts die, they get reborn, he considers to be an insult and an act of theft. We've got another page explaining who he is, and a brief description of the Battle of the Burning Skies there. And then we move on to the Soul Wars. Nagash claims all of Shaish and every soul that is his, and every soul that enters his realm. To his fury, others dare challenge this right, from the God King Sigmar to the Dark Lords of Chaos. Those who withhold souls from the great necromancer will be made to suffer as his plans for revenge fall into place. Yeah, the Soul Wars is one of Nagash's many power plays. The guy has dozens of plans, all designed to sort of move him nearer to his end game, or win outright. They never seem to work entirely as he expects them to, or entirely as they should. But being as he's playing long game after long game, I don't think it matters. It goes on to describe things like the Necro Quake and things that happen there. So it's definitely worth reading. You looking forward to that, Julia?
Yeah, when I get around to it.
When you get round to it.
Okay, never.
It also goes on to describe the Black Pyramid, which we can see there is an upside down flying black pyramid made from soulstone, which was part of Nagash's plan to basically kill everybody everywhere in all the realms and then take them as undead. Fortunately, it didn't work because Nagash's plans never really do. So Julia can read on that later. We've now got the instructions on how to build your Mirrorborn Banshees. Something me and Julia will probably do later. Importantly, it's got the clipper instructions there. Those are important. If you go awry with a clipper, you could literally take off your whole arm. Very dangerous clippers there. Basic instructions again on how to build them. They're part of the easy to build range, so as Julia said, they're usually made from 2, maybe 3 parts, not including the base, and they all pop together and glue together fairly easily. We've also got a how to paint thing. It's giving you basic concepts on how to paint, how to prep your painting area, and to make sure you keep it clean. It's going through the tools you will need, including the Citadel water pot, which we don't have, but which you can, I'm sure, buy from any reputable gaming store, as well as how to open paints, just in case you don't know how to open paints, Julia. And various other bits and pieces. Bit of a sales magazine there. It's also got the Citadel painting palette, which in this case is a paper palette that Citadel sold, where it's kind of plasticky paper and you can use it, then peel it off and then throw it away. Most people, like myself, tend to use something random. At the moment, I'm actually using the lids of the pots. I keep my tissues in there to keep the paints dry, and I have my paint water in there, which you can see is black because I'm base coating a lot of things. Yeah, I tend to dry the brushes. Sorry, I tend just to use the lids of the pots and things like that. There are plenty of types of palettes there, and usually the permanent one's made of plastic. Once you've kind of made a thick layer of paint on them, you can just peel the whole lot off. It's easy enough. Does that inspire you to buy paper stuff?
No, it just inspires me to go find a tile.
Yeah, tiles are probably the easiest ones to use. It's got some base instructions there, starting with the base coat of how to paint the Neomorn Banshees. And if we go to the next page, it's giving you pretty much the same instructions for the chain rasp board that we got last week, which is something me and Julia are going to be doing, not necessarily on camera, but we're going to be painting them. And then she's going to decide exactly what she wants to do from that period on. But having base coated them and painted them white, they do look pretty much like ghosts. I mean, what do you think? Just at the base coat, they look quite good, don't they? Okie dokie. Next, we've got a battle thing. Is it Terror Amidst the Tombs? Do you want to read the Spectral Ambush bit, Julia?
The chain rasps have been vanquished for now, but the shadowy barrows are still haunted by many other unquiet spirits. From the misty fog, 4 ghostly spirits drift forward towards Anastasia,
that's what they've named the...
Starstrike and her secretaries, daggers held aloft, ready to cut their victims down. People always say
That's Anastasia Starstrike. Starstrike. As you can see, I'm halfway through base counting my secretars. It gives a nice story here. Give you the basics of what's going on, and then a nice sort of wrap up of what happens when you fight. It moves on to the next thing. We've got, again, we're probably going to, me and Julie are probably going to play this mission as well. So if you go on the channel, you can see we played the last mission in the last one. This one involves the Banshees, and it's going through the Banshee attack, the pile-in. It seems to mostly be covering close combat weapons, and also the damage there. Again, it's got some basic stuff here that doesn't have any of the stats for them. It's worth noting you don't need the stats. Most of the stats are, to my knowledge, still freely available on GW at the time this video goes out. But it goes through the Banshee attacks and then the Secretary attacks. It does, however, give you a little bit more than the last issue did, in that it gives you the stats of the weapons, including the Banshee's Chill Dagger, which attacks with 1 dice 4+ to hit and D3 damage. The Secretary Storm Smite Maul, which has 2 attack dice, hits on a 3+ and does 1 damage. And the Chain Rasp Malignant Weapons, which do 2 dice attack, hit on 4+ and again do 1 damage. So it's worth noting the difference. The previous 2 models have 2 attacks each. The Banshees only have 1 attack, but the previous models only do 1 damage, whereas every hit, if the Banshees hit, they do D3 damage, so they only do 1 or 3 or 2, depending on what they roll. If you're unsure what a D3 is, you roll a D6 and basically half the number rounding down. So 1 and 2 equals 1, 2 and 3 equals 2, and 1 and 2 equals 1, 3 and 4 equal 2, and 5 and 6 equal 3. Rounding, yeah, it's rounding down, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, half 5. No, not the 5. The 5's rounding up, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, so it equals that, almost that. Then we've got another thing, basically trying to sell you stuff, which is fair. I think they've got a bit of sales stuff in here, but it's by no means the sales magazine that the old White Dwarfs were back when they were monthly, where it's just nothing but sales. It's trying to get you to subscribe, which again, there's a lot of good value for money to be had on the subscription. If you just subscribe for the basic price, you get a few extras. If you go for the Premier subscription, you basically get these 4 armies as extras, and that's only £2 a month, and you are making a saving there. I may, if I get a chance, go through the prices on a video at a later point. And then next week we have, she knows her phone's on. Anyway, next week we have issue 3 which has the what have we got? The Castigators and Griffhound. So I've got 3 guys with crossbows coming, and a Griffhound, which is like a dog with an eagle's head, which is cool. And then afterwards, do you want to read what you get in issue 4?
Afterwards, I will be getting Glaive Wraith Stalkers, which look like Death of Rats.
They do, don't they? Yeah.
With spines.
In issue 4, you'll be getting some ghosts that look like the Death of Rats, if you're familiar with Terry Pratchett. She'll be getting 4 of those. The magazines, issue 3 is going to be covering the Cascades and the Griffhound, painting Stormcast Eternals, and a shooting playthrough. Then issue 4, and you're also going to get Retributor armour, which is why you can't paint your Stormcast Eternals fully yet. That's if you're painting them gold, and I'm not entirely sure I am. In issue 4, you'll be getting, I'm going to try and pronounce this, Nicolac Oxide, which is a kind of, it's almost a wash, but not quite. It's kind of a thick looking wash. I've actually got some here on a stick from a previous thing. And I'll show you this. You can see that it kind of fades a bit as it thins out, and that's really good for doing things like providing kind of like a spectral glow. So that's good. I already happen to possess some of that because it came with this week's Warhammer Conquest magazine. So in 2 weeks we'll possess more. And the magazine is going to be going through the Glaive Wraith Stalkers, exploring the Mortal Realms, and painting with Nicolac Oxide, which is good as well. So well, that's us for this week. It's goodbye from me, and
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from him.
Mean.
I hope you guys enjoyed that, and we'll see you next week. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, remember to like and subscribe to my channel. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter. Not sure why, but I am. So if you like it, see me there, and please tell your friends. Thanks very much. Bye.